we're going to have to process all of this together. And we're going to have to do it as healthily as we possibly can. Meaning the healing needs, because a lot of us are acting out of our trauma, and that's not fine, but it has to be dealt with. And I want to at least start the ball rolling here today. So if you have the courage to call up and you really do feel like Puffy got a bum deal, I can't believe they did this to this man. His brother did so much in the community. I got a turkey for Thanksgiving. I was one of the people that got a turkey. I cannot believe it that this has happened to him. Because if it happened to him, it could happen to me. I don't know how you feel, but I want to know if you're a woman. Oh, my son, it could be him. This man worked so hard. And I will say this, just like I was able to, watch this docuseries that Bill Cosby did. It was like, oh, my God, this was incredible. And yes, he drugged and raped women. Yes, these two things happened. This the same person did these two things. We can have that conversation, because I think in many ways it's how we glorify people in our families.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back, and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
I talked about Bill Cosby, not from, the thing that he got hemmed up and went to jail for, but for the docuseries that he put out about Black history that I thought was really powerful. And as I was talking about it, I know that maybe some of you were uncomfortable because, Bill Cosby did that thing multiple times, drugged women and had sex with them, which is rape. And he went to jail, even though he made a deal with the prosecutor that wouldn't happen. So he got out of jail, but he still did the thing, right? And I'm not struggling. I'm very clear. And I've landed on this because initially I was like, baby bathwater. Do we toss it out? No, we don't. We keep the baby in the bathwater, and the bathwater might be filthy, but we're going to keep it all. We're going to talk about it all. Maybe we're going to put the baby in some clean water, but we cannot throw out the baby being the good thing, right? I know for me and R. Kelly, I can't listen to his music because a lot of his music has the pathology in it. And it's hard for me to hear what his mind is telling him and his body is doing. And you remind me of my Jeep and all this other stuff when I know he was literally canvassing schools looking for young girls and all of the things that he did that he's in jail for. So he is paying for his crime. But I also remember people calling up defending him. I also remember people calling up and defending Bill Cosby. And while not a lot of y'all have done this, there was at least a couple, and I remember particularly a woman called up and defended Puffy. I know there was commentary about Bill Cosby. They were targeting him because he wanted to buy NBC, and, they're always trying to take the Black man down. And as it relates to Puffy, I know some of you may really feel that. So I want to hear from you today, because as I'm watching this docuseries, this 4-part series, I have some very clear thoughts. And I'm not going to get into the details of the documentary. I am going to bring up one thing when we come back, but I would really love to hear from people for whom they feel like this is a conspiracy, that this is really just about taking out a Black man, that they don't feel like these men did any of the things. And maybe you believe R. Kelly did it, but not Bill Cosby. Maybe you don't believe, Puffy did it, but you believe it, I want you to walk me through how you arrived at what you're feeling, because I really want to understand, because if we're going to be in community, and this is where I'm landing, I need to know who we're in community with. I need to know, where the lines are, because we're going to have to get through this together. We're going to have to process all of this together. We're going to have to do it as healthily as we possibly can, meaning the healing needs, because a lot of us are acting out of our trauma, and that's not fine. But it has to be dealt with. And I want to at least start the ball rolling here today. So if you have the courage to call up and you really do feel like Puffy got a bum deal, I can't believe they did this to this man. His brother did so much in the community. I got a turkey for Thanksgiving. I was one of the people that got a turkey. I cannot believe it that this has happened to him. Because if it happened to him, it could happen to me. I don't know how you feel, but I want to know if you're a woman. Oh, my son, it could be him. This man worked so hard. And I will say this, just like I was able to, watch this docu-series that Bill Cosby did. It was like, oh my God, this was incredible. And yes, he drugged and raped women. Yes, these two things happened. This the same person did these two things. We can have that conversation because I think in many ways it's how we glorify people in our families. I was watching some videos. A lot of y'all spent Thanksgiving with people who might have traumatized you. Why? Like, this is how I am right now. Why? Why do you, why? Oh, tradition. Oh, it's family. Oh, it's family above all. Like, at what point do we prioritize our health, our healing, our growth? And to me, being a grown person is not putting yourself and your family and other people that you love in situations that traumatize you, your family, and other people. If the healing, if we ain't dealing with the offense, like, I'm gonna put the offense right out. Bill Cosby, yes. R. Kelly, yes. Puffy. Now, yes, we could talk about the great music. We could talk about the great work ethic. We could talk about the genius, visionary. We could talk about all of those things in the same breath. We can have that conversation because we're mature. But I would really like to work through those of you who are just like, this is a conspiracy. Because to me, it's similar maybe to people who could, 77 million of you, vote for Trump with all the things that we know about him because of the one thing that you like about him. I'm just trying to work through some things. All right. As we move together and we're going into a new year really quickly. I don't want these last 12 months have been, woo. I'm exhausted a little bit. I can't believe so much stuff has happened in 11 months since, 11 going into 12 months. It has been exhausting. And things aren't going to get better unless we make them better, which means we also have to have some tough conversations with ourselves and each other about what our expectations are. And the Puffy documentary is called Sean Combs, The Reckoning. The Reckoning. What does that word mean? What does it mean? We're going to talk about it when we come back. The number is 866-801-TALK. If you had the courage, I'm going to promise not to go off on you. I'm going to let you talk your talk. I'm not going to challenge you in a way, hopefully, that'll make you uncomfortable. I want you to be able to feel like this is a safe, free space to say whatever it is you feel. And I want to listen. I am bringing up the documentary that I just started watching today. It's called Sean Combs, The Reckoning. It is produced by Curtis Jackson, also known as 50 Cent. It was directed by Alexandria Stapleton. And let me tell you, it's well done. And, I wasn't going to watch it because I'm like, 50 Cent is a whole ass troll and he's petty as hell. I know he doesn't like Puffy. He's been trolling him. He's happy that he's in jail. And then I was like, at the same time, and I've watched two other Puffy documentaries. So I'm like, I'm puffed out, literally. But this thing opens with Puffy in his hotel room. I think it's weeks before he's actually arrested. He is documenting something. They got the film in his own voice. It is so wild that I'm going to read what I transcribed from it today. But I asked the question before we went to break, and I want to hear from folk because I don't think we have the right conversations. I think we devolve into whether we like somebody or not, or whether the music is good or not. And many of us often defend things out of our own sense of like, well, this happened to me, so I don't really care if it happened to other people, or maybe I had these proclivities and I'm trying to protect myself. I don't know why people defend the things they defend. Only but I think we do go to our respective corners and we don't have the proper conversation. And the conversation that I'm going to have after we talk to the people is, how do we build healthy communities? How do we build a healthy community for ourselves and the people in it if we aren't going to hold accountable people who cause harm? And what does accountability look like? What does a reckoning look like? So let me go to the phone. Let me go to the phones. Ruby in New Jersey. Welcome to the Karen Hunter Show.
Yes,
Hi.
yes. Thanks for taking my call. I was just thinking, I'm a senior. And I was just thinking, if I had to stop listening to some of my favorite folk like Art Kelly and Diddy or whomever, I have to start throwing away a whole lot of my dollar bills because George Washington on them, and a whole lot of my other music and my artwork, because a lot of them had a whole lot that was not sanctified.
Okay. All
You
right.
know, so that's
Y-
how I see it. I just
Okay.
will not, because of what they did, will not deny me of listening to good music. Or
Okay.
just,
I hear you. I respect that. I said for me, I cannot listen to R. Kelly. For you, you can
right,
listen
right.
to R. Kelly, and that's fine. I'm not going to judge you.
But, right, and that's the reason, because I would have to start throwing away a whole lot of my stuff I have in my
Okay.
house.
You know, I appreciate that. You know, if we're going to
Uh-huh.
examine, you know, Elvis, who was, tipping up on a 14-year-old Priscilla and Jerry Lee Lewis. I mean, there's, we can't watch
Hmm.
Rosemary's Baby because of,
Right,
like, yeah, no, you're right. But at the same time, the question that I'm going to be asking is about accountability. And for me,
right,
I
right,
can't listen to it without feeling a little skeeved out. Me. So it doesn't have the same
right,
feeling, Miss Ruby, but for you it's fine, and that's fine. We're people. We're individuals
right.
for a reason, and we all have to. There's no litmus test. Nobody has to adhere to the same standard. But I just want to know where the bar is, you know. So that's the conversation we're gonna have today. So thank you for sharing. Let's head over to Pennsylvania and welcome in Earl. Earl. Oh no, 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 Earl. I'm gonna pause you
Good,
because
good,
I'm having a. Oh, go ahead, Earl. Go ahead. I called you. Go ahead. Talk your talk.
good evening, first of all. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I do not want to talk about Art Kelly and Puffy. The only thing I can say about them is that they got what they deserved. They
Okay.
earned a certain amount of prominence, influence, and they abused that. They abused the power. They abused folks, and they thought they were bigger than the system. So the system caught up to them now, and it has a hold of them, and it's going to swallow them up because of their ignorance and the things that they thought that they were allowed to do just because they had money and fame. And they
Okay.
see that they cannot compete with white folks when it comes to those kind of scandals. They
Well,
use black
well,
folks as
and they didn't traffic white people. If they had if R. Kelly had canvassed white high schools with white girls, and Diddy had trafficked and abused white girls. I mean, I'm sure Aubrey O'Day. I don't know if she's, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
yes. Hmm.
would would we feel the same way? I don't know, but that's just a question I'm
Uh,
just throwing out. But that's not why you called. So I'm just throwing out a question and being more Socratic than anything.
I'm, I understand, but I wanted what I really wanted to talk about was this administration and
Okay.
the idiots that are running things, that are in charge of things. You have one idiot that's on top, the big idiots, and you have a bunch of other idiots on the lower tiers that never accomplish anything in their lives. But now they're in charge of some things and some people in organizations, and this power has gone to their head, and that's why they're making so many bonehead mistakes, because they've never led anything or accomplished anything, but yet there's no forward thinking. And that's why we have all the trouble that we have now around the world, because of these idiots. They're just idiots, stone
Hmm.
cold idiots.
Well, that doesn't help us get out of this right now. And while yes, I will agree with you, the reason why mediocre people who have never done anything remarkable, who are put in positions now of power, are doing crazy, ridiculous things because they're not qualified. It doesn't change anything. So what's the solution, Earl?
The solution is that the government has to do what it's been enacted to do: follow the rules, follow the law, and get these idiots out of here, because they're all unqualified. And you see what they're doing. They're ruining all kinds of treaties, agreements. They're tearing the United States up apart because of all the bonehead, selfish things that they're doing and thinking.
Right.
I've never seen such actors in my life that are doing these kind of things. Who would have thought that this would be happening here in the United States?
Steve
But look at
Bannon.
us.
Steve Bannon. This was his blueprint. This is what he said he was going to do.
What,
Russell
what,
Vogt.
what,
This was their blueprint. This is what they
look,
wrote, a 900-page document telling you exactly what they were going to do. That they've been adding to probably since Reconstruction. This was the vision. This was their vision.
now,
Yeah.
now that we know this, now that we know this as a nation and as a world, why are they still being allowed to fulfill those fantasies?
Because the Supreme Court gave the president immunity and autonomy to do whatever, because everything gets kicked up to them, and then they allow him to do it. And while the lower courts, because justice is the arc towards justice is long, but it eventually bends towards justice. I know I'm butchering that quote, but it takes a while for things to come through the courts. But it's happening, but it's slow. And unfortunately, 77 million people voted for this, and 90 million people said, but Gaza or whatever. But both the same bird, two wings, decided not to vote. So here we are. And I'm actually not even optimistic that the midterms is going to turn out this widespread, this overarching number of people to do something different. I'm actually not super optimistic, but I'm going to keep banging. I'm going to keep banging because I live here. So I hope people join, and let's go. But Earl, thank you for your call. Let's head over to April in San Diego. Hi to you. Welcome, San Diego, California. Hi.
First time caller, long time listener.
Okay.
I just wanna first and foremost give you your flowers. I've been listening to you, Larry, and Clay every day of the week. Sometimes I listen twice, 3 times a week, just to kind of get centered and get in my black girl magic. But yeah, so I appreciate you guys. You guys are very intellectual, very well spoken. I learned some things, and I seek every day of the week you guys' intelligence and your empowerment in this world we're living in. But yes, that's that. You're welcome. So I basically called about the R. Kelly, the P. Diddy, and Bill Cosby and things of that nature. So for me, my opinion, I feel the exact same way you feel about R. Kelly. I have not listened to R. Kelly in forever because there's some underlining things he's saying there, and it literally makes my flesh crawl. It's triggering, and so I don't put money into R. Kelly. I don't put money into Puff Daddy. I don't listen to their music. I feel like these people, our brothers, they have to be held accountable for what they're doing. I've heard a lot of people in my community, black community, that it's an excuse. Oh, well, he does this. He's done this for the community. Can't take away the greatness that they've done and accomplished, but at the same time, they got to be held accountable for the people that they hurt in our so.
Oh, your phone is going out. Okay. Well, April, yeah, all of that. Still haven't heard from somebody that thinks that what happened to them was wrong. Let me go to Adrian in Los Angeles, because that's the mind I want to understand. Who's got character? And I guess this leads me to the conversation that I want to have about, P. Diddy, because, there was somebody in the Nubia chat who said, it's like the drug dealers who, would hand out turkeys and Thanksgiving, and they would, pay for the little Pop Warner football leagues. I remember in Queens, there were Fat Cat and Supreme and all that, and they would fund the little basketball tournaments, and the Rucker was fun. So you would do some good things, and if you were in the community, you got a turkey or you got that, that money for your uniforms or whatever, you didn't mind the drug dealer, but the drug dealers were still bringing bad things into the community. And then you could question, well, the drugs came from outside of the community. Nobody had airplanes and boats to make Franklin Saint sell them drugs in the community. Somebody flooded our community with those drugs and then depressed the opportunities that make that the attractive thing for people to do. And what child is going to say no, especially when there's a pipeline to prison with the scheduling of crack to remove all of the adults from the community who are just, it's a wild conundrum, but not really when there's a standard, when we all have each other's back and when we don't accept that. Who was it? Was it Kumo D. Smith that was saying something about the drug dealer? Yeah.
The first sellout in the hood is the drug dealer. And people don't look at it that way. And
expound on that.
The first sellout is a drug dealer because I'm just trying to feed my family is not an answer for you to be able to kill my family. You can't kill my family because you're trying to feed your family. So you're the first sellout. And we co-sign that and be cool. It's like, he's just trying to eat. He's not just trying to eat. He's killing your family while he's trying to eat. You're creating a climate that makes black on black the worst thing on the planet. You're killing black people trying to make a living. And the oppressor is absolutely loving that. And I said they love a drug dealer. Your colonizer loves a drug dealer because you're killing your people to feed yourself. So I said, nah, you can't get a pass from me. So I was very, very hard on it.
Thank you. And what do we do about the predators? Whether they're in the pulpit, how many predators in the pulpit that we just go every Sunday and we do our tithe and we sit there and listen because he preaches well or she preaches well or they sing well or they dance well, but they're predators and they're destroying young people, and then it gets passed on because hurt people hurt people. Like, when are we gonna actually have that conversation? All right, let's go back to the phones. Adrian in Los Angeles. I'm sorry I didn't get to you before, but welcome to the Karen Hunter Show. Thank you for holding.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to speak with you today.
Okay.
I'm a veteran from Desert Storm, and I fought for leadership, okay? And I fought for America and for the rights for all. And I'm not seeing that now. But the point I'm seeing is when you have these types of behavior from all these gentlemen, and they're African American, they're black men, okay? They're black men in high places. So those black men are being used like the big slave. Now, I understand that that's something that we don't want to see, but we get away from one thing. We're protecting the predators now instead of protecting the victims. And I say that because I was born in 1967. So in the 70s, when you had molestations and children being abused and things of that nature, got put in the closet. Their own families would hide it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got to the point where we started to believe the children. And so that became abusive towards adults that may have not done anything. So now we're back in the cycle of going against the victims and trying to protect the people that are out here doing the predatory and the violations of all these people that they're doing as victims. We don't care. These are young girls that we're talking about, teenage girls that were told to do things by adult men.
Mm-hmm.
And we're choosing to say, well, maybe what your earlier caller said, well, then I'll have to throw away all my else things as well. It's not about black or white. It's not about race, religion, or anything like that. It's about righteousness. It's about right and wrong.
Correct.
And we aren't protecting these victims that have been through these types of barbaric situations as children. And the reason I put it so stressful and so strong like barbaric is because when you think about it, if you're yelling at a child and you're standing over the top of them, you look like a monster to them.
That's right.
When they're being molested, you look like a monster to them. And so I don't care who did what, but if they did something to hurt someone or do something they shouldn't have done that has scarred a young woman to commit suicide, someone should be held accountable.
That's right. That's right. And Mr. Adrian, thank you for your service as well. Commentary straight, right on. I have no disagreements. Let's keep it going. Let's go to William in Maryland. Thank you for holding. Welcome to the Karen Hunter Show. Hi.
Hi. Haven't talked to you since Colin Kaepernick.
Oh, wow. That was a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was wild. But I've been listening to you all the time. You haven't said nothing wrong most of the time, so I don't need to say anything.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah. So my thing is, I agree with the prior caller. We got children that were hurt. We had women that were hurt. And I used to think that as a man, we're supposed to protect our women and children. So I don't care if you can sing, tell a joke, if you're a good politician, if you can do a poem. You harm somebody in my community or any person that's defenseless, you got to pay. That's the way I look at it. Now,
but so why isn't it happening? Because there's a whole I would suspect you put 10 women in a room, 8 of them have a story of predation, of somebody having done something to them when they were a little girl and in their circle. So if what you're saying is true, where's the protection?
Well, we got to, first of all, we want our children, our young ladies, our young men to be able to come to us anytime, which means we have to listen before we do any type of correction or anything.
But that's
like
not
that. We have to
happening.
learn to listen.
Mr. William, I'm
That's
just
right.
asking, why isn't it happening?
Because people not, they don't want to take the time, or they don't have the courage. Everybody feels like, oh, this is a mark on my watch. This happened on my watch. The heck with who's in charge or who's the grown person right now. Once you find out something is wrong, you do something about it. So I was in the Marine Corps, and we knew who the enemy was supposed to be, and we focused on that. And now the enemy looks just like us in some cases.
Well, that's always, it's a lot. It's a lot easier to hurt the ones around you. There's a song, I think, you always hurt the ones you love. There's it seems easier, because of the consequences. It's not as great, right? But I think it should be the opposite. It should be harder to hurt the people around you. But we have to set that bar as the point that I'm making. I think that's on us. Like, there has to be a standard that we all agree on. Me and Miss Ruby may not agree on R. Kelly and whether we listen to the music or not, but we should all agree that that should be the standard. Like, nobody should be able to get away with harming a child on our watch, period. And we should all agree. And then we should also agree what should happen to that person, whether we deal with it as a family, which I think would be lasting, but that's a conversation for another day. Thank you, Mr. William. Let's go to Tammy in California. Thank you for holding.
Hey,
Hi.
Professor Hunter, how you doing?
Hey, Tammy, how are you?
I'm doing well. Just wanted to comment on the topic at hand right now. Man, definitely accountability needs to take place, but we need to also understand why this is even a thing. And I think it kind of goes back to the social structure, right, of this country. We know it is patriarchal based. Capitalism equals greed. And so for the gentleman that preceded me, he was talking, as far as how do we address it, or how do you hold people accountable, and why do we even need to keep our kids safe around family, community? And, I think it goes back to this notion of greed. I get something from that person, so therefore, I might be willing to overlook. And then the other piece of that is that, these men are socialized, men and women, because there are women who also abuse other boys and girls, or young men and women as well.
And we should talk about the boys that get abused, because R. Kelly was one of those boys, and I think that's an important conversation that we don't even want to have either. The amount of boys that are trafficked and, people are touching and molesting and raping. We don't talk about that. And it's even more embarrassing for them to come forward to, because of the way we've structured manhood in this country. We got some work to do, Ms. Tammy. We got some work to do.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back, and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not beg.